Mr. Gutierrez, we had meetings with our Vice Prime Minister, Mr. Bezzini, with our Minister Ivanovsky. So what were the main messages? Their messages and yours?
My message was to give our feelings as a Federation of Journalists about media situation in Macedonia. And the fact is, we have many concerns about the situation, which is declining. We can notice that on some reports from international reports from Reporters Without Borders, but also the American NGO Freedom House. They are all pointing Macedonia as the worst country in the region.
Why is that? Would you point out the main issues of concern?
Well, those reports are based on many criteria, pluralism, legislation, justice about media cases. So there are a lot of criteria, and I think there is not just one cause for that situation. The fact is that the situation of freedom of expression in Macedonia is worse than in Montenegro, than in Albania, for example. Maybe now the important point for us is that Mr. Ivanovsky admitted that there is still place for improvements.
What about Mr. Bezzini?
Mr. Bezzini was...
Did he admit it?
He was less engaged, because it's business. It's direct business. So he asked us to talk about this with Mr. Ivanovsky, what we've done.
Why didn't you have a meeting with our Prime Minister Gruevski? Do you think that he's not an important politician?
No, of course, that's a good question. We asked for a meeting with him, but he didn't even answer our emails. So no answer from his cabinet.
The main danger, according to journalists, according to the Association of the Journalists, is the new media law.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your opinion about this media law?
Well, that's not only my opinion, but it's also the opinion of Council of Europe, of OECE and other NGOs. We have all the same concerns about that law. One of the main problems for us is the regulation of media. The law is based on state regulation. The standard, the European democratic standard today is self-regulation, not state regulation.
The main problem in Macedonia is Mr. Kazarovski, our colleague Tomislav Kazarovski, who is in prison now, in home prison, but anyway. So, what did you ask about Kazarovski? To be free, to be released?
We talked about his case to Mr. Bezzini, to Mr. Ivanovsky. I told Mr. Ivanovsky I had the opportunity to meet Tomislav Kazarovski during a long meeting yesterday, and I was really impressed by the fact that he's very strong, he got the faith, and I know that he got the faith, he's strong because he's innocent. I explained Mr. Bezzini and Mr. Ivanovsky that with such charges he should never have been prosecuted. Elsewhere in Europe there is no journalist in prison with such charges. But both answered that that's a problem of justice, not a political problem. No. Justice is independent.
No. Judicial system is independent. Judges are independent.
That's the answer. That's the answer. Personally, I'm not optimistic on the case of Mr. Kazarovski, but I was happy to see him with such a strongness. He wants justice. He don't want to be amnested.
A month ago, there were, or less, there were some articles about Dunja Mijatović. She's responsible for media in OSCE, and some pro-governmental media were asking, who is she? Who is Dunja Mijatović? She's no one, nobody. Who knows her? What kind of authority she has? So don't you think Are you afraid that the same questions will be put about you? Who are you, Mr. Gutierrez?
The person is not important. I'm just here representing 300,000 journalists in Europe, you know. We are the principal organization representing journalists in Europe. That's the main point. I'm just representing 300,000 journalists in Europe.
So representing Macedonia and Kazarovsky in this case, what will be your next steps regarding the case of Mr. Kazarovsky, our colleague Tomislav Kazarovsky?
Well, Mr. Ivanovsky accepted to have a meeting with our union members, the union and the Association of Journalists. We will judge the intentions of the government on the result of that meeting.
And after that? What are your plans after that?
Well,
after that assessment?
It depends on the results. I cannot tell you now if we are going to, publish some press releases against the situation or organize other actions. It will depend on the results of the meeting. Mr. Ivanovsky knows very well now our concerns. We are waiting for some steps in our direction.
Are you optimistic about the outcome? Because you were not optimistic about the case of Kazarovsky.
For the moment I'm on a neutral position, I'm not optimistic, not pessimistic. I will wait for the proposals of the government and we will react considering those proposals.
Thank you for being our guest, Mr. Gutierrez.
Thank you.